Hello, everybody. I am a bit early, so I just thought that I would have a little chat with you before I read my story. And I just wanted to say that I hope that you are all okay and you are all happy at home. And I have been seeing that you've been doing so much super work at home. It is brilliant to see what you've been getting up to. And actually, some of you have even made videos like me, which is so lovely. I love seeing your videos of you dancing. I love seeing videos of you doing your maths. I love seeing videos of you doing your reading and reading your red words, which is fantastic. So keep up the super work that you're doing at home, because it is just fantastic seeing all of this super work that you've been doing. I absolutely love it. And you'll be seeing a little bit more of me hopefully tomorrow and Friday on YouTube, because I will have a little bit more time to just make some extra videos to help you with any learning that you might be getting stuck with. Now, today, our story is a funny one. It's called Boogie Bear, and it's by David Walliams. Now, we've been thinking about predictions in English this week, and you've had to make lots of predictions about different stories that you know, and make some predictions about some stories that you don't know just by looking at the front cover. So have a look at this picture on the front cover of the book. What do you think might happen in the book? That is what prediction is, what you think might happen. I predict that, I think the bears behind might be a bit grumpy, but I'm not sure why. Maybe I predict they might be grumpy because the bear in the middle's been naughty. I'm not sure. And I can show you this part of the book. This is called the blurb. This is the back of the book. And I'll read you what it says. It says, "Warning, there are bears in this book." And this bit here says, "From a #1 best-selling author, David Walliams, comes a hilarious and heartwarming picture book, brilliantly illustrated by the artistic genius Tony Ross." So today, the illustrator is Tony Ross, and he's actually quite a famous illustrator. And the author's David Walliams, and he's actually also quite funny. You probably have heard of him before. So we've got a few people on watching already, so that's great. So we can start the story. We're a little bit early, but that's okay. So it's called Boogie Bear. Oh, look, there's the author. That's David Walliams, and that's the illustrator, Tony Ross. And I know lots of you like being illustrators and artists at home, so that's also great. Okay, it says, David Walliams presents Boogie Bear. Let me just turn this screen a little bit so I can sit back a bit. Up at the North Pole, polar bears were swimming, fishing, and growling. The biggest, furriest one of all was sunning herself on an iceberg, as usual. Lying there, without a care in the world, she scooped fish from the sea with her paw and dropped them into her mouth. She must have been very hungry. "This is the life," she sighed as she drifted off to sleep. There she is, eating her fish that she scooped from the sea. Shh, shh, zzz, 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 shh. When the polar bear finally woke up, the most awful thing had happened. The animal must have eaten too much for lunch, again because the part of the iceberg she was lying on had snapped off and floated away. Oh no. Wait, why do you think that's happened? Can you predict? The polar bear was now miles away from home and being hurled around by the angry sea. Oh dear, she said as she wobbled, surfing a humongous wave. Surely things couldn't get any worse. They could. Much worse. Oh no, what do you think is going to happen? What's going to get even worse? As the polar bear was swept south, the sea became warmer and warmer, melting the iceberg, which became smaller and smaller. Soon it was no bigger than an ice cube. Oh dear, said the polar bear as she toppled over into the sea. Splosh! Bobbing her head up out of the water, the polar bear spied that the nearest land was miles away. That's very, very far. Oh dear. She did her best bear paddle towards it before collapsing on the rocks, waves crashing around her. Oh, and there's a little note down here. It says, bear paddle is like doggy paddle, but more beary. I wonder if you can do any bear paddles with your paws. Behind her, she heard a rustling in the forest. Rustle, rustle, rustle. There's a little note down here. The only thing more rustly would be someone called Russell, rustling. Looking up, the polar bear saw hundreds of eyes staring back at her out of the gloom. Oh dear, oh very, very, very dear, she whispered to herself. Surely things couldn't get any worse. They could. Much worse. Oh dear. Charge! Came a voice. Before the polar bear knew it, 100 brown, furry creatures were stampeding towards her. Ah! They cried like soldiers running into battle. Get the Boogie monster! Bellowed the littlest one from the back. What's a Boogie monster? That is! Shouted the big one with the floppy ears. I'm scared, said the one with the biggest, wettest nose. The brown bears had never seen a white bear before. Goodness me, I think I'd be quite scared if I was a white bear. Oh dear, very, very dear, said the polar bear, and she ran away into the forest as fast as she could. There's a little note. It wasn't actually that fast, but at least she tried. Brown bears came from all sides, and soon the white bear had nowhere to run. Ahead of her was the tallest tree in the forest, so she clambered all the way up to the top. Can you see? There's a note. It is impossible to clamber all the way up to the bottom. You can't climb to the bottom, can you? The tree swayed under her weight. The white bear clung on desperately as the brown bear circled. Oh dear, very, very extremely dear, she said to herself. How do you think she's feeling? What do you think might happen next? Can you predict what might happen? Maybe she might fall off the tree, or maybe something else might happen. Get the Boogie monster! Shouted the small one. bearing his sharp teeth. Can someone else do it? It's scary, whined the one with the biggest, wettest nose. I am not scary, shouted the polar bear. Yes, you are, said the little one. Your fur is a funny colour. Well, I think your fur is a funny colour. That enraged him. That means it made him very angry. Get up there, he ordered. I'm scared of heights, replied the one with the biggest, wettest nose. The smallest one huffed and picked up a stick as big as he was. He hurled it at the polar bear. Take that, Boogie monster! Whoosh! Biff! Ouch! Called the polar bear. She lost her grip and slid down the tree at speed. Don't think that was very nice, was it, what they did? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, she muttered to herself as her big furry bottom hit each branch on the way down until she hit a big bendy branch which bounced her right back up to the top of the tree. Surely things couldn't get any worse. They could. Much, much worse. And there she is bouncing. Oh dear. Oh, very, very dear. As the polar bear was so heavy, the tree buckled to one side. The pack of brown bears reached up with their paws and grabbed at the trunk. Get the Boogie monster! Ordered the little one. The brown bears lost their grip on the trunk and the tree twanged back up. Twong! A twong is like a twang, but more twangy. Oh dear! Screamed the polar bear as she soared through the air. It's a flying Boogie monster! Remarked the one with the biggest, wettest nose. Now, polar bears are not natural flyers. None have wings or own jetpacks or can pilot helicopters. In no time, the poor animal had crash-landed head first into a huge, muddy puddle. Splat! If you think you have seen a polar bear flying a helicopter, please consult a doctor. Let's get the Boogie monster! Shouted the littlest one. Oh dear, said the polar bear. She stood up. Caked in mud, the polar bear wasn't white anymore. Stop! It's not a Boogie monster! It's a bear! Exclaimed the one with the biggest, wettest nose. A Boogie bear! Shouted the littlest one. A huge smile spread across the face of the one with the floppy ears. She's not a boogie anything. She's gorgeous. Boring, fumed the littlest one. Miss, we are so sorry for frightening you, said the one with the floppy ears, stepping forward. In truth, we were frightened. Here, you see, all us bears are brown. There, all us bears are white, she said, pointing north. Maybe she's from the North Pole. Maybe they're not. I love your white fur, said the brown bear, checking out the white bear's big furry bottom. I love your brown fur, said the white bear, checking out the brown bear's big furry bottom. Yuckety yuck, yuck, exclaimed the littlest one. The pair rubbed noses in a show of love. The birds in the trees tweeted sweet music. Butterflies swooped and twirled. And as if that wasn't enough, a rainbow appeared in the sky. From that day on, the two love-struck bears spent all their days and nights together. The white bear had never eaten honey before, which she loved. The brown bear had never eaten walrus before, which he pretended to love. I would not recommend eating walrus. You have to smother it in tomato ketchup just to make it taste nice. The pair hibernated for the winter, cuddled up together in a hollowed out tree. Things couldn't get any better, but they could much better. What do you think's going to happen? That spring, the polar bear had a litter of beautiful bear cubs. Their fur came in lots of different shades of white and brown. No matter their mummy and daddy loved them all the same. Oh, look, they're so cute. Oh, I just love bears. This really is the life, sighed the white bear. It certainly is, my love, replied the brown bear. And that's the end of the story. Wasn't that a fantastic story? So she was a polar bear from the Antarctic, and the brown bears were not, because she landed on their island, didn't she, because of the melting ice, which probably is because of climate change. But then when she ended up there, they were all scared of her because she looked different. But actually, they realised that even though she looked different, she was still beautiful, and she was a lovely, lovely bear. And then they all decided that they would be happy together, and then they decided to be together, and they had a lovely, lovely little family of bears. Isn't that the most beautiful story? Well, I really hope you enjoyed it, and it was lovely to see you all. And as I said earlier, I will be on tomorrow to read you another story, and also you'll see a little bit more of me tomorrow because I will pop on and help you with a bit of learning too. Okay, so I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your afternoon and evening, and take care. Goodbye, everybody.